Go.
Da, da, da.
The live stream.
Yep, we are live.
We're doing it, Mr. Krabs. There we are.
What?
And for those of you at home, I cannot apologize for any future streams you see where I am making SpongeBob references, despite this being a Ghostbuster stream. So, not sorry.
No, SpongeBob references are perfectly fine. I'm wearing Patrick socks right now.
Heck yeah! That's what I'm talking about. It's the important things. It's the little things.
Mm-hmm.
Just after my time.
Just
Just after.
Fair. A quick little story before we get started, so we can gather people who are seeing the stream come up. Used to have a coworker. He was big Simpsons fan, and I'm big SpongeBob fan, and so that is we would like go back and forth with our references constantly, and like go as deep as possible until the other person's like, I have no idea what you're referencing, and then like, haha, I got you, and like pull up the clip.
I once got in an argument with like something like that with somebody who over Family Guy versus Simpsons because they took it personally.
Oh no. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of, I feel like with the diehard fans between those two, I feel like that can be a lot.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get started.
Oh, hey there, Bob.
Oh, Bob in the chat.
Oh, hey, Bob. It's Bob.
Bob
How's it going, Bubbles?
Well, let's get kicked off. So welcome, folks, out there in the social media stream intaking universe. This is Windy City Ghostbusters presents Why We Bust. So this is our weekly live stream experience that we will be bringing to you every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time. Basically, Why We Bust is our chance to interview members of different Ghostbuster franchises and get to hear their stories and get to know them a little better. I am your host, Krystyn, your friendly neighborhood level 5 roaming vapor. On socials and moderating, we've got James.
Hi.
He's always going to be lurking up there in the corner. And then tonight, we have one of our very own Windy City Ghostbusters, Ryan. Hi, Ryan. How are you?
Hey, everybody. I'm good, and yourself?
I'm good. We already have a question in the chat. Bob wants to know where that guy from last week went who hosted me. Missed him already. I miss him too.
There's a guy hosting last week?
Yeah, apparently. Like I tried to log in and I was locked out of everything. And the next thing I know, there's just some guy hosting instead of me. I don't know what happened. It was
Mothman.
There it is.
That
So,
lousy
Bob,
Mothman.
Find Mothman.
Mothman hijacked our stream.
Turns out Bob won't be able to find Mothman because he is in fact also Mothman. So that might pose an issue.
Yep.
Don't tell Bob that.
He is a Mothman, not the Mothman, though. Just
fair. Okay. Technicality. But yeah, tonight we're going to be chatting with Ryan. He's one of our own in here at Windy City. Excited to get to know you a little better. If you ever see our social media posts, there is a main picture we use a lot. It has Ryan and myself in it, looking around.
Yes, it does.
A library corner. And actually, Ryan, I think that was the first time I met you, if I'm not mistaken, because that was only like my first, or I think it was my second event.
I believe it was your second, and yes, you were correct. That was the first time that we met.
Yeah.
And if before we go into any more on that event, just a funny fact about that one picture, which I love so much.
Yeah.
I'm looking straight at the camera.
Oh yeah.
I could not look up. I could not bend my neck back any further because of the proton pack I was wearing. So, I was getting made fun of. It's like, hey, Ryan, you're looking straight at the camera. It's like, I can't. there was nothing I could do about it.
No. There's no.
Yeah, that picture is.
It's hard to have peripheral vision when you're wearing a proton pack.
Yes.
Truly. Like you can get side to side mostly, is like depending on the headgear you got, but you cannot see what's above you.
Especially when you're crouched down on your knee.
Yep, because you're in the lowest tier of our little stack. But that was fun. We did a few pictures, like group pictures that day, and got to run around the library, and
we argued about pens.
we had a little skit.
I remember that.
Oh my God, James, you were in there for that too. Oh, that was
Yes, I was.
That was a fun time. I think that was literally my first event. Maybe second.
I think you were right. That was really early.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And now we have Slimer. Anyways,
Yep.
So Ryan,
Yes.
what is your first like memory or like exposure of Ghostbusters?
Oh, it is so difficult for me to pinpoint because I remember Ghostbusters reaching back to my first vivid memories. I don't know if it was the real Ghostbusters cartoon or if it was the 1984 Ghostbusters movie or Ghostbusters 2, which came out, I believe, in what was it, 89, right?
89. Yeah.
Yep, 89. And I was of a certain age back then. Probably some of my earliest memories were in 89. I remember seeing Batman and Backdraft double feature in a drive-in. I remember watching Ghostbusters 1, Ghostbusters 2 on home recorded VHS tapes. I'm showing my age there. I also remember watching the real Ghostbusters, so I don't remember which iteration
Fair.
came first to me, but I had them all at my fingertips at an early age.
Yeah. So like kind of that culmination of everything was almost everything was available, and
Yep.
so it was all kind of at the same time. You got to experience.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool because like a lot of there's a number of franchises where maybe they're newer or something, so you only get the bits and pieces, a little taste of it. But yeah, after a certain point, I mean, you have 1 to 2 whole series of cartoons. You have 2 movies. If you're like more of a like 90s kid kind of thing, like you've got all of that, and then now the next generation they have all of that plus. That's really cool. Just be like, I had the whole plate.
Back then I had what was available at the time, and like I said, it was just the 3. It was Ghostbusters 1, Ghostbusters 2, and the real Ghostbusters, which was still they were still creating new episodes at that point. I don't even remember what channel they were on. I was catching new episodes here. I was catching reruns there, and I felt most in tune with the real Ghostbusters. Of course, I was a young kid, and I remember watching the movies and getting so upset and wondering why. Well, why is Egon? Why does he have brown hair? Why doesn't his hair have that really weird spiral thing? Why doesn't Peter sound like Garfield? Why are they all wearing the same color uniform?
Yeah. Good old editing on TV to help kids differentiate the characters. If you had to pick between the 2 cartoon series we have, Extreme Ghostbusters and Real Ghostbusters, Which would you, if you could only pick, watch one forever? One had to be eliminated forever. What would you pick?
Okay, so you
when it gets eliminated for everyone. The stakes are high.
all right, well, I will say this, since you put those extreme stipulations on that question, I would say the real Ghostbusters all the way is going to be staying. It has, 5 to 7 seasons, I think. The later seasons weren't that great, but the first few were incredible. The Extreme Ghostbusters came out a few years after the real Ghostbusters ended, and it, even though it was a cult hit, I want to say probably after the fact, since it only had, what was it, 1 season? Someone fact check me there.
Yeah,
but
you're correct.
Yeah, it grew. It had such a cult following after the fact. So, but the real Ghostbusters will always be the true. I would say.
Okay. Yeah. I would agree. Someone on Twitch says, I think it's funny and messed up at the same time that, I agree with this, that Ernie Hudson auditioned for Winston for RGB and then was basically told he does not sound enough like Winston. Still insane that was
given to what, Arsenio Hall, I believe.
He was the original Winston, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So in that same line of thought, movie wise, including new movies, what is your favorite? Like, what's your go-to if you're like, I just want to watch a Ghostbuster movie? What do you go to?
That's also a very difficult question.
In this scenario, the other ones do not get eliminated.
Okay. I actually like to watch a particular Ghostbuster movie depending on what my mood might be at the time. Am I feeling nostalgic? Am I feeling, humorous? Am I feeling a little more serious? I would classic, which would be another term for nostalgic, I guess. But as I mentioned before, I grew up with both Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2. I would say if I'm feeling in the mood for a bit of a more comedy-driven movie, I would go with Ghostbusters 2. It was a little more lighthearted, a little lighter on the comedy. They packed in more jokes for younger people to get. So yeah, I would watch that. If it, you can never go wrong with the original. So, Ghostbusters 84, no matter what my mood is in, that's always, the first, the OG. It has some of the best lines in it. So, I might watch that. And if I'm in the mood for, something a little newer or something a little more fresh, I'll throw on Afterlife. Once Frozen Empire comes available, I'll throw that on. I've even watched Ghostbusters Answer the Call a few times, just because it was a fresher take.
Fair, yeah. No, I like your take on that. It's like there's no one answer because it depends on how you feel. Although it sounds like your overall is number 2, and according to Tony and Bob in the chat, they said number 2 is the only correct answer.
I would say my overall would probably be number 1, just because it's the original. But I don't know, for some reason I have a lot of fond memories of plunking that old HBO recorded VHS tape of Ghostbusters 2 into the VCR. And I don't know, maybe it had something to do with the River of Slime or Vigo or Janosch, the classic character that he was.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Hello to Josh in the chat. Welcome. And
Hi,
also,
Josh.
James, am I not mistaken by thinking there is a hype train going on right now?
There is a hype train going on. We have
Choo-choo.
chuggity chuggy choo choo.
Nope.
Heck yeah. Oh, I don't know if there's a hydrate, but I'm just hydrating throughout tonight. Yeah. By the way, I forgot to mention on the top end, anyone tuning in through Twitch, you can use those points to make us do stuff. It is predetermined things, though.
Don't make me do stuff.
You can encourage us to have a stretch, have a hydrate, and
Now we have a hydrate.
oh, we do have a hydrate now. All right. Cheers,
So
everyone.
chugga your hydrate.
Beautiful.
And now we have a Slimer Sillies.
Ooh, James, you got
Oh.
anything for a Slimer Silly?
I'm not prepared, so give me a minute.
Totally fine. I'm trying to think of the one. Oh, there was a really good one last time. It's been a minute since I've streamed with our gamer crew, but there's a real good one. Can't remember what it was.
Okay, I got a good one.
Hit it.
Why are vampires easily fooled?
Why?
They're suckers.
Get out.
That's a great stream, everyone. I gotta go. Have a good Thank you for that one, James. Anyways. So, Ryan, how did you learn about Windy City Ghostbusters?
That is a tale within itself.
We love a tale here. We love a tale.
So my involvement goes back further than we previously discussed. I was in college, going to Columbia College in downtown Chicago in the early 2000s. This was around 2005 through 2008, 9. I was there basically. Oh God, I was there. I was there for quite some time. But it was around, I think it was 2008, maybe 2009. I found Ghostbusters Chicago division on. I don't even remember where it was. It could have been. Maybe Facebook was already around. It could have been MySpace. I could have seen a video on YouTube.
Yeah.
And
the early days of YouTube. Oh
yeah, the early days. And I went to their website. I even ordered a t-shirt of for the Chicago division.
Yeah.
And following them for a little bit. Then I get distracted with school. I graduate. I go into the military. I'm in the military for a while. I get out, and I'm back in the civilian world, and I'm traveling in the I don't know what you would call it, but costume contest circuit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
During Halloween, and I'm also at this point in time following different Ghostbuster groups on more modern Facebook, and I'm following different different groups, and I reached out to Ghostbusters Chicago division, which also in turn deferred me to Windy City Ghostbusters, who I was actually aware of at the time. And I believe it was Joe who was conversing back and forth with me to bring me on board. Sorry? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think he was just confirming that Joe's the one. Yeah. So if
Yep.
any
Okay.
folks out there reach out with interest to our page of anything, that's the guy.
Well, it depends. If it's membership, it goes to
Oh, that's fair.
Joe.
Yeah.
If it's events, it goes to Jason. If it's anything in between, usually I'll respond to it. But that's nuts and bolts of how that works.
So it sounds like you had this kind of like little touches, little experiences with those involved essentially over time.
Yes, overtime. Nothing really before I reached out on Facebook.
Yeah.
Back in the early 2000s, early mid 2000s. I really didn't talk to anyone. I didn't know how to get in touch with anyone. Social media back then was a little more. It was a lot more crude. So I was just watching.
Just lurking from the background.
Watching YouTube videos and going to websites and stuff.
Fair, yeah. So, what was finally that point where you're like, I need to be a part of this? Like, what was that defining moment? Was it? Well, I don't know. What was it?
It was something that was in the works for a very long time. I mean, a very long time. Again, I will reach back to my college days, and I saw a group on the internet, a couple of groups on the internet, and they're dressing up like Ghostbusters, and I'm watching these people, and I was like, oh, they're nerds like me, and I'm thinking, it's like, well, if they could do it and they're confident in doing it, why can't I? And I just got distracted over the years. Life, again, military, a job after the military, and finally I start to revisit the idea. Something seems to be missing. I look forward to every Halloween to where I get to put on that jumpsuit, and that's also a story for later. I get to put on that jumpsuit and feel like a different part of myself.
Yeah.
It's just I saw Windy City, or Ghostbusters Chicago Division / Windy City, and I reach out, and I'm thinking, it's like, hey, this is something I want to do. This is something I need to do. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that that high more often than just once a year.
Yeah.
And I get to strap on that. I get to put on that flight suit. I get to put on that proton pack, and it just honestly, it made me feel good.
No, that's amazing. I love that. Yeah, and actually, as Elliot literally just put in chat, I was kind of thinking the same thing. Halloween can be every day, but especially if you're a Windy City Ghostbuster. So with it, the like kind of focus more on Halloween type stuff first, did you have other cosplays before Ghostbusters, or was that one your first, and how did the Ghostbuster one come about?
So the Ghostbuster one was always there. Going all the way back to my childhood. My very first proton pack was I had this G.I. Joe backpack that I had used for years. I used it for school. I used it for camping trips, going up to visit my grandparents in Minnesota. This would be my all-around backpack, and it was just like this cheap nylon backpack. And around the time of the real Ghostbusters, and I had the if either of you remember the Ghost Popper.
Is that
the toy.
Is that like it was like you push it back and it shoots?
Yeah, you pull it back and then you push it forward and it shoots a foam pellet.
Okay, yeah. I have seen
Yep.
those.
Yeah, well, I had one. That was my very first, I believe my very first Ghostbusters toy, and I
Nice.
used that with this backpack, this GI Joe backpack, and I put the ghost popper in the backpack, and I'd zip it up, and I would run around. I also had a black T-shirt from the real Ghostbusters. We got it off of I think it was a Cheerios cereal box back when you had to mail order these things, and
Yeah.
it was a black T-shirt with a holographic image on the front. So you would turn it one way or the other, and then it was kind of like this rainbow. This rainbow 3D movement thing, and I would put that shirt on, put this GI Joe backpack on, and run around with this ghost popper in the backpack, and it would be hell trying to get this thing out of the backpack because it was it was
To be
zipped up.
fair, with just a regular Neutrona wand, it's just as hard, depending on the type of hook you have. It's just as hard still.
Yes. So your question was about cosplay. I kind of got sidetracked there.
Oh no, you're good. No, that was a great story. That's perfect. But yeah, like so when after that, like as you and by the way, Bob was requesting for you to say the word Minnesota again, because apparently it is Chicago and Minnesota like accent at the same time.
Minnesota.
There you go, Bob. So what was, as you got older and you're looking forward to
Yes.
Halloween, where did it start where it went from just Halloween to cosplaying? And was it just Ghostbuster cosplay or was it other ones?
Okay, so when it went from Halloween to Ghostbusters cosplay, I would say it was in college. All throughout my life, I would say every third Halloween, I would be dressed as a Ghostbuster in some fashion, in some pieced together ratty costume I could. But once I got into college, and I got what people would call money, I started using said money to purchase.
Yep.
Purchase items. I got my first official, my first actual flight suit, and I put that together. I had a patch with my name on it and the Ghostbusters patch on the right arm. Fun fact: the jumpsuit I wear now, the flight suit that I wear now, have those same patches. I reuse those patches all the time.
That's awesome.
Also with the black Franklin elbow pads, those were from my original Get Up.
Oh wow!
So I can't get rid of them. I've been wanting to switch over for the longest time to the gray elbow pads, but I can't get rid of these things for some reason.
Nostalgic, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so back in college, I just because I had the money, and probably shouldn't have spent said money because it was meant for food, books, stuff like that. Instead, I was buying.
Stay in school.
Yep, I was buying a flight suit, a custom-made Ghostbusters 2 patch with my last name on it, which I don't remember where I got it from. At this point, I was
gonna say that would have been hard to get.
Back then it was. It actually could have been a link through the Chicago division, but I'm not positive. Like I said, back then I was researching a lot of Ghostbusters stuff because I was trying to piece this costume together. So my costume or cosplay at this point consisted of flight suit, rigger's belt, a tan rigger's belt, which was at least the only one I could find at the time. The black or elbow/knee pads and these 2 patches. And that was only those were the only items I had for this this cosplay. Oh, I also had I went to Home Depot and I pieced together my first ecto goggles.
Oh, nice. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. How hard was
I
that to like source just parts?
It wasn't difficult. Even back then, when dinosaurs roamed the earth in the early days of modern internet,
Yeah,
it wasn't too difficult to find. So I got like welder's goggles and some PVC pipe, and I just basically pieced these things together and painted it. And you know, I do have some pictures from back in college with me wearing this thing and these awful looking
Aw.
ecto goggles on my forehead.
Do you still have them?
No, I mean, I might, but they're in pieces if I do.
Fair.
So there was that. The other one I was piecing together at the time. In addition to being a huge fan of Ghostbusters, I am a huge fan of Indiana Jones. I love Indiana Jones.
Nice.
Just like Ghostbusters, I grew up with Raiders of the Lost Ark, Last Crusade, and Temple of Doom. I know that's out of order. I grew up with these movies. I loved the character. I loved everything about this character, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do an Indiana Jones costume. So get some brown slacks. I get a safari shirt. I actually ordered from this this magazine to get the Indy jacket.
Nice.
And I went out and I bought this real nice fedora hat, which I still have. Actually, I still have everything. I get this fedora hat from this incredible website back in the day. And the thing is sitting in a box right now. It sits in the box until I'm ready to put it on
Fair,
for
yeah.
the indie costume.
Real quick, we were just screamed at to hydrate in chat.
You have 2 hydrates.
Because unfortunately, if I let you tell your whole story, they're just going to keep yelling. Because they don't understand sometimes. I'm sorry. And I'm specifically talking about Bob. The guy who interviews people is yelling at us in the middle of the interview.
Is Bob going to hydrate?
Bob, I would request, not demand, request that you also hydrate. So as you were saying, you ordered it from the great website.
Oh yeah, this great website. Again, memory fails. I ordered it from this great website that just honestly just did incredible hats, and they had an Indiana Jones Australian fedora. So of course I snatched it up. It's made out of it's not fur felt. It's beaver fur. So it's a better quality hat, which is why it stays in the box when I'm not wearing it.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So every Halloween, after I pieced these 2 costumes together, every Halloween when I was in college, I would travel the costume circuit. Usually, the college I was going to, Columbia, might have a costume contest. Here, several bars on Halloween or during the Halloween weekend would have costume contests, and I would show up. And back then, Indiana Jones, it was impressive, especially if you could get it close to accurate back then. Ghostbusters was even more impressive, even without the proton pack.
Yeah.
Which I did not have. So I would hit these costume contests at these bars, and I would, not every time, but routinely, consistently, I would get second place or first place, and there would be at times there would be cash prizes, not a whole lot of money, but hey, look,
Hey,
that would be
walked in with less, so
yep.
no, that's awesome. So it just kind of happened to be the circuit of contests, basically.
Yeah, and
Having
I
to
found
show
that.
up like top notch.
Yeah, it was like I said, sometimes this would be over an entire weekend, depending on what day Halloween fell on. You might, if Halloween falls on a Wednesday, you'll have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
bars, and yeah, sometimes these bars they would stagger their Halloween celebrations. So I was going all over the city, out here in the burbs,
Traveling
and
your costume contest circuit, if you will.
yes,
Yeah. Quick question. When it comes to your pack, this is a question requested by Rick, and Bob also said this is something I just got to start asking every week. What's your pack's name?
I have not given my pack a name yet.
Fair. I won't pressure
Boo.
you into picking one right now because.
Oh, I am. Pick a name right now.
Mine doesn't
Do
have
it.
one either.
Do it.
Mm.
I'm kidding. Don't have to.
Bob says name it Bob you coward. But it has to be I'm inserting it has to be the whole thing. Bob you coward. Actually,
I agree.
Bob's a coward.
and Ryan, if you don't want to, I'll happily take that as my pack's name. So just saying, think about it. It's up for grabs. But
Bob you coward. That would be, yeah.
I think
okay.
I can hear Bob through the internet going,
so not only Ryan, though do you kind of do have your cosplays, but you also make some props, correct?
I have made a few props.
I know
in
you
the
mentioned
past.
the ecto goggles, of course, but what other props have you made?
I have a few to list.
Heck yeah.
Right before I got involved with Windy City Ghostbusters, I was itching to make a proton pack. This is before the Spirit proton packs came out. This is before your HasLab packs came out. So there's still, you had to spend major coin to get a proton pack, and well, I didn't have major coin back then, so I was researching how to build what I guess some people called a junk pack. I was going to Home Depot. I was getting foam. I was getting PVC plumbing parts and electric parts just to piece together. I had this whole thing printed out to build a proton pack. I bought all the parts, and then I realized I didn't have the tools.
Oh, no.
I did not have the tools to make cuts where I needed. and I'm thinking, it's like, well, crap. All I have is this pack that's in pieces and this neutrino wand that's put together and unpainted.
Yeah.
But okay, so props. Going back to college, what prompted my first, I would say this was my, aside from the ecto goggles, this would be my first or second prop that I had made in conjunction with the Indiana Jones costume. The Last Crusade is my favorite Indiana Jones movie of all time. And reaching back to my childhood, I always wanted a Henry Jones Grail diary, which I created.
Oh my
This is-
god!
Sometime in college, I online, of course, magical internet. You can find how to do anything. So
Mhm.
this book here, I got all the scratch parts, the leather, the backing for the cover, the pages I aged myself.
Yeah.
I made this thing from scratch. I sewn the pages myself.
Nice. Nice. True
So
front
and I
book.
found the thing. Well, yeah, back then you couldn't. I didn't have the hundreds of dollars to buy one of these online. So I got the do it yourself, and this thing is probably by far my favorites prop that I made. One of my only.
Yeah.
But this thing is awesome. Inside, I did not print any of pages in here. I went old school. I would print out the drawings and the handwritten pages from the internet. I would size them on the computer. Then I'd print them out. I cut them out, and I got carbon paper.
Nice.
I don't even know if that exists anymore. I would get carbon paper, and I would get pens, and I would trace these illustrations, and I would trace all these handwritten notes out into this book, into this Grail diary here, and then I would have to go over that with a fine felt tip pen. So I'd have to do it twice just to make it permanent on the page.
So literally, like this book that like technically was written by someone else. Technically, the notes were taken by someone.
Yes.
Is now done in your handwriting. Technically.
Well, I mean, my handwriting, as in
not
I
in your
traced it, but
by your handwriting, yeah.
yes, by my handwriting, and I got to tell you,
wow. How long did that take?
Not done. It is still not done. It's a process in years. Just one page could take.
Yeah.
Probably at my quickest an hour if I'm rushing it, and that's an hour for the tracing, get rid of the carbon paper, then the retrace if it's a simple illustration. If it's not a simple illustration, if it's an intricate one, which most of them are, it takes a while, and you need a lot of light.
Yeah.
And my hand cramps really easily, and yeah, that's why it's. I have a good portion in that book filled. Just like I said, traced, copied. I made my own inserts, so this thing is not 100% accurate, I would say, as far as prop making goes, but it looks it looks great, and it's one of my favorite pieces.
Yeah. Have you since that one's a work in progress, are there other props you've made, or are there other props you're planning to make?
I would not. I have made one, well, probably several things since then, but one thing I have in my possession right now, it's not a prop per se, but it's just something just to show my own ingenuity and doing things from scratch. I got really big into Norse mythology for a couple of years, and not Norse mythology, but Norse history. Vikings, stuff like that. And I had made a drinking horn.
Nice.
So this is actual steer horn.
Oh
I used an older method. I put beeswax in here, and the thing I'm most proud of on here is this leather. They call it. I call it a sheath, but I guess it's called a frog. This 100% leather. I went to a hobby shop and just got a scrap leather bag,
nice.
and I found the best pieces that worked. And there's no metal studs or anything in here. This is all poked holes and tied off bits of leather, and this thing is held together for years. And this is
really nice. Like it looks really great.
It sits on honestly, it sits on the shelf because it's very impractical.
Right,
collects dust.
No, fair, yeah. I would say, yeah, drinking out of that regularly may pose a problem, I would assume.
I would say so. I have no way to set it down. Usually what I would do if I were to drink out of it, I would kind of push it between the couch cushions, so it was standing erect and not spilling all over the place.
Tony wants to know, did you tie the loops on or did you ribbit them together?
I tied them
on the frog. Did you ribbit?
Nope, they're completely tied by leather straps.
I think Tony is referring to frog sounds that sound like other words. Ribbit.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what does he mean? Did he ribbit the
Zoom?
Oh, one question I really wanted to make sure I asked. If money and time do not exist, you snap your fingers and you're in a cosplay, what would that be?
If money and time did
you
not
don't have
exist.
to put money into it. You don't have to put the time into it. You just snap your fingers and you have a cosplay. You had like 1 wish for a cosplay. What would you do? Who would you be? Or what would you be?
I would say it would probably be a cross between Ghostbusters or Batman, because who doesn't want to be Batman?
Some of those Batman suits out there today are insane.
Yes.
Tony said he'll see himself out for that joke he made. Bye, Tony. But again, we gotta hydrate. Cheers. So you got Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
You got Indiana Jones. Are there any other fandoms or like nerdy interest group type things that you're interested in?
Fandoms or nerdy group type things. I would say, yeah, there are plenty of fandoms. Nothing I really could get into as much as I did with Ghostbusters and Indiana Jones. But I grew up a Trekkie. You know, I love Star Trek. I grew up with the Next Generation. Yeah. I've seen all the original series on syndication or on streaming. I was big into Star Trek around the same time that I was into Ghostbusters. Just name your sci-fi, and I've probably been into it at one point in time. I also grew up with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. You'll never catch me in spandex.
Yeah.
But I did like the Power Rangers when it was when it was airing when I was a kid.
Yeah. When years ago now, like probably like 8 years or so ago, I remember all of Power Rangers were uploaded to some streaming service, and I got excited. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna go watch it again. I haven't had access to this." Don't rewatch it.
I already have.
Subscription is ruined.
Oh,
Something I did want to also mention: you train for and do ruck marches.
oh, that's a surprise. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I do. Mhm.
So why do you do them? What are they? What is the fundraising for? What is that?
Okay, well,
Question.
as I've already mentioned, you could probably piece together. I am a veteran of the United States Army, and over the course of the years since my separation from service, I've been increasingly involving myself into the veteran community. Now, this ruck march that you speak of, I do that once a year. It's called the Chicago Veterans Ruck March, and that is put on by the organization Chicago Vets, and it's put on every Memorial Day weekend, and it's to help raise money for combating veteran suicide. So I try to do my part. I've been wanting to be involved in this ruck march for pretty much ever since I found out about it. You either know about it and you know how big it is, or you don't know about it and you don't know it exists. And once I did find out about it, I was trying to be a part of it, but then COVID hit. So, it shuts down, and then they did a virtual ruck march, and essentially, yeah, you sign up, you help raise money, which will go to Chicago Vets, and then they in turn dole this money out to a lot of charities like the Wounded Warrior Project and other organizations that are there to basically help combat veteran suicide.
That's amazing. Thank you for your service, and thank you for
Thank you.
continuing your service to your other servicemen. That's really incredible. In chat, Rudy also said thank you for your service. But yeah, no, that's
Thanks, Rudy.
I did a little, scrolling through your page, and I was like, I remember you post when you start training. I know you start posting about it, and that was how I think I found out, and a few other folks even from Windy City even learned what it was, is because you're just promoting you're getting ready for it. But I at first I was like, oh cool, he's doing this thing, and then I was like, wait, it's supporting what? That's incredible. So yeah, thank you for supporting other folks. That's really, especially when it comes to mental health, it's so important. So Ryan, I have one big question to ask you.
Yes.
Why do you bust?
Oh, geez, look at the time. Why do I bust? I would say for a few reasons. I mean, one, it honestly fulfills that childhood dream of mine. I would say, and this is in no particular order. It fulfills that childhood dream of mine that I feel that probably many of us have had, wanting to become a Ghostbuster when they grew up. It was one of my probably almost every other year birthday wish. I'd be sitting there blowing out the candles in my cake, saying, "I wish I were a Ghostbuster," and it never come to fruition. Well, now it has in some kind of aspect. So that would be number one, just fulfilling this childhood desire of mine. Number two, camaraderie. The camaraderie that I was missing from the military, and now I'm also surrounded by like-minded other people who, when I throw on this potato sack, people aren't looking at me with an eyebrow raised and a quirked look in their eye. So yeah, I'm surrounded by it. It's we respect each other, we encourage each other, and that's just awesome.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I didn't know this until I joined Windy City, but we help sick kids,
Mm-hmm.
and that is that's a very noble cause. Again, when I was looking to get into this, I had no idea that is something that Windy City did, and this is just an extra added plus to the whole deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's one of the cornerstones, especially in the last few years for folks, is that extra piece of like we're doing good for folks in our community, whether you're from a suburb or directly from the city, or in a 50-mile radius of downtown. Yeah, La Rabida does some great work. So yeah, I agree. Definitely happy that we're supporting that. Ryan, before we start closing, is there anything, any stories, any tidbits, any little thing that you wanted to make sure to share? Or are you feeling pretty good?
I'm actually feeling pretty good right now.
Good. Well, folks, thank you for joining us tonight for another episode of Windy City Ghostbusters Presents Why We Bust. Be sure to check out our link tree. It is in our social medias, and that way you can learn more about the charity that Ryan is mentioning that we support, La Rabida Children's Hospital. They're here in Chicago on the south side. So yeah, check that out. Check out our links. James, you want to tell them what's happening this weekend?
Something's happening this weekend?
I heard a
happening this
rumor.
weekend? Oh, yes. So this weekend we are actually going to be pulling a plane. So we're pretty excited about that. So we will be out in Romeoville at Lewis University, and we will be participating in the plane pull for Special Olympics. It's a really awesome charity. We will also be there on site with a table of stuff and equipment and Biggie and to help entertain everybody that's there while they're waiting around to pull a plane 20 feet, I think it is.
I heard a rumor Slimer's going to show up to pull the plane. I won't be there to see it, but
Slimer's going to be there.
That's what I heard. I mean,
Ooh.
Slimer is officially a plane puller, so Slimer has to be there. But unfortunately, I'll probably miss it because I've never been able to find Slimer. Always in a different room.
Gotcha.
I'm wondering about that.
It's a similar situation to Bob and Mothman. But anyways,
Sounds like it.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching tonight. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you again for coming on and hanging out for a bit. It was really fun chatting, and
thank you for having me.
Learn more about you. So y'all check out our socials. Ryan, do you have any socials you want to plug or anything?
I do not, actually.
Totally fair. Cool. All right, folks, we are out of here for tonight. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see you here next week.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.